Welcome. In this video we'll be taking a quick look at Baldr, a legendary grade DPS class Elune. Taking a look at his base stats at 6 stars and level 60, you'll see that he has a decent amount of HP at 27k, with his attack being at a high 5.5k, and his physical and magic defenses both being adequate at 3.1k each. His attack speed is about mid-range at 106, making him not the fastest but also not the slowest. Elune allowing him to move quickly in the battle. His crit starting at 84 also allows him to have a little bit higher crit than average, making it easier to get his crit rate up. As we increase his Transcendence up to +5, you'll see that his HP goes up to a nice 48.7k, with his attack ending at a near 10k at 9.9. His physical and magic defense end at a 5.6 to 5.5k, making him somewhat of a tanky Elune while at the same time doing damage. Looking over at his skills, he has one of the few skills on a skill 1 normal attack that does something other than just a basic damage. The pincer attack does physical damage, starting off at 140 plus 110% of his attack, which is a lot. This attack also applies a nature effect, Blaze, on the enemy for 3 turns. As we level the skill up, the attack damage increases up to a nice 1000 plus 136% of his attack as physical damage. The Blaze effect also increases to a 4 turns on the enemy. Moving to the special skill, this skill attacks all enemies. It is an AoE attack, dealing damage multiple times, 5 times, and doing a nice 120 plus 85% of his attack as physical damage. This skill also has a chance to inflict them with a nature effect Blaze for 3 turns at level 1. As we increase the levels up all the way to a max level, the damage goes to 820 plus 133% of his attack as physical damage. The Blaze effect also, as with the first skill, goes up to a 4 turn duration on the enemy when it lands. Moving to his ultimate skill, Flame Dragon's Rage, this is a single target attack that can attack any enemy, Elune, front or back line. This attack hits 2 times, doing a significant amount of physical damage, starting at level 1 at 370 plus 280%. The damage also increases by 15% for each Blaze effect on the enemy. The enemies can only have 3 Blaze effects, so this is a 45% increase. When an enemy with Blaze is defeated, meaning you kill them, this skill will automatically get used on another enemy at random without consuming any more soul. This effect only happens once, meaning that it cannot be triggered multiple times on the same turn. As the skill is leveled up to its max level 6, the damage goes up to a quite high 2250 plus 396% of his attack. The damage increase also goes up to 30% for each Blaze effect, meaning that you get a 90% increase in damage on the enemy when you do this. This makes this skill a very hard-hitting single target attack, good for both PvE and PvP situations. His first passive, Dragon Knight's Conviction, makes him immune to any Blaze effects that the enemy would put on him or might reflect to him, meaning that he cannot be inflicted with Blaze effects at all. Also, any time that there is an enemy on the battlefield with Blaze effect, then he increases his attack by 20%, making his damage even more significant. His second passive, Flame Armor. This one will reduce the damage that he takes from any enemy that has Blaze by 20%, making him a little bit more tanky to anybody. So if anybody attacks him with Blaze, they do less damage. Also, when they attack him, anybody that attacks him will also have a Blaze effect put on them for 3 turns, meaning that even if he is not the primary target but of an AoE attack, the attacker will get a Blaze stack each time they attack him on a turn. His third passive is another passive that also works with his blaze, making him work very well together, and his skills all synergize well. This one adds a 20% crit rate to any enemy that has blaze, and if you do crit on an enemy that has blaze, it will deal an additional damage of soul damage to that target, meaning that he can do damage that ignores shields and invincibilities to stuff, making him do damage even through that. But the blaze effects also do that, which is nice because they are soul damage when they trigger. Something to note about the blaze effects, as they do a percentage of damage to the target, it is based on their current HP and not their max HP, meaning that as you do damage to the enemy and their HP goes down, the blaze ticks will be lower each time, as it is based on their current HP. Moving on to his skill gems, on his skill 1, the skill gem set recommended is a red for physical, and orange for crit rate. This is not a bad thing, as this skill does do a lot of damage and is something that you're going to be using quite often on him. Having the extra physical damage plus the crit rate is something that can help him. The bonus of a 5% chance to stun for 1 turn is a very low chance, so you could go with the increased crit rate by going all orange, or you can go all red for increased physical damage if you so choose. His second skill, the special skill, is a red, orange, physical damage, crit rate, and crit rate. This one, when triggered, has a 5% chance to put blaze on the target for 3 turns. This again is up to you if you want. It is a low chance to blaze, inflict blaze on the enemy targets. It is there. Going with additional crit rate or physical damage, raw damage without needing to crit, is something that would be viable and is a good alternative to it if you don't have the gems or do not wish to go this route. Moving on to his ultimate skill, this one, the recommended, is red for physical damage, the orange for crit, and violet for the increased speed after using it. This gives him a 10% chance to restore 1 soul. While it is not bad, the 10% chance is better than the other 2. It is still not a big deal or anything that would need to be done. Increasing the damage with the red physical gems or with the orange gems would be something that would also be viable to increase his crit or physical damage using this skill to make it sure that it hits very hard. Moving over and looking at the dimension slate for him, some things that you would want to keep in mind and look for him is, of course, his attack. His attack is important to him, but other stats that you would want to go for is crit, as critting allows you to do the additional damage from the passive as soul damage each time. You would also need accuracy, as it is important for him to apply all of those blaze effects that he does. Adding more physical and magic defense is something to consider, but it is not too bad, as he is a DPS and you would want to focus more on damage. Having the HP makes him a little bit tankier and a little bit more likely to survive, but again, focusing on your crit rate and accuracy for him will be important. The blaze effects are not affected by attack, but he does have good raw attack power, so adding attack where you can get it is preferable, though having the high crit rate and accuracy is something that would be preferred, as the soul damage is much more useful. The high speed going for him on here is, if you can, with speed subs or speed add-ons for the slots, would not be a bad thing to do, as it can help him take the turns more frequently and get that first turn to set up blaze. Some gear recommendations for him would be anything that increases accuracy or damage. Going with the full moon set, with the 3-piece set, would be good, as it gives him a 25% chance to land the debuffs, making it a little bit easier for him to land debuffs without needing so much accuracy if you cannot get the accuracy needed. Other sets to go for would be the newer Violent set from the recent update, or going with any set that gives an additional turn so that he can do multiple attacks on multiple turns while at the same time. Going full attack without needing to go HP on his offhand weapon allows him to do more damage on his hits, as his AoE does do a significant amount of damage. Things that you really wouldn't need to do is focus on tanky stats for him, as his base stats are quite nice already. Having him more on a crit build or on a high accuracy build to land the blaze effects is going to be very helpful for you, and those are the stats you should be focusing on more than others. Any chance though that you have to get additional HP, magic, or physical defense would be good, and it would be good to balance the two if you can between your helmet and your foot slots. That's going to be it for this one. If you have any questions or comments, let me know below and I'll answer them as soon as I can. Thank you.